I didn't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to get addicted to gambling. It happened really slowly and very subtly. It happened over the course of a few years. Things started off really great, and I really enjoyed my time gambling. I was placing sports bets on my favorite teams and players, really enjoying every single bet that I placed, regardless of if I won or lost. But slowly, and somewhere along the way, I developed this dependency on gambling that went far beyond entertainment. I was gambling to survive. I was gambling to feel different, to escape my reality. And all of that culminated in the worst day of my life. It took 6 years to get to that day, and there were plenty of bad days in between. But in one day, I created enough debt that it took me 6 months working 70 to 80 hours per week in order to pay it off. And I want to tell you about what happened that day because I don't want you to go down the same path that I did and make the same mistakes with your life that I made with mine. My name's Rob, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm a recovering gambling addict. I made my last bet on November the 12th of 2022, and that's the exact date that this story takes place. If you want to avoid going down a path of absolute chaos, then smash that subscribe button and learn from my mistakes. Let me set the scene for you. This was 6 years into my addiction. So the small bets that I was placing in the beginning, they weren't doing it for me anymore. Over that 6-year period, the bets had slowly increased to the point where one loss could have realistically wiped out all of my previous winnings if I had had any left by that point anyway, which I did not. But when you think about a gambling addiction, what's happening is you are gambling for the thrill. You're not gambling for the money. Maybe it started out that way. Maybe you tell yourself it's that way. But what you're really gambling for is that period of time in between placing a bet and finding out the result. I had actually gone about 9 months up to that point on November the 12th without placing a bet. I had joined a support group meeting. Things were going really well. But the weeks leading up to that date, I stopped showing up. I got very comfortable in my recovery, and I thought, hey, I don't need to go and talk about the same crap over and over again. I have this figured out. I have this beat. The truth was, I was just feeling sorry for myself. I had gotten to the point where I wasn't looking for any purpose in life. My purpose was just not gambling. That's not a viable purpose. It's a great thing in itself, yes, but when your entire life is just not gambling, it's like you can't really measure your success very well. You can't really feel great because you're just trying to not do something. You're not actively seeking to accomplish anything, right? So I started to feel bad for myself, and I went to a bar. I was watching a game, drinking a little bit, and I thought, it would be nice to go back to sports betting because for me, it gave me this rush, this feeling and sense of accomplishment and competition. Like if I could predict the winner of the game, that showed that I was successful. That showed that I knew what I was talking about. And so that day, after, skipping my meetings for the last few weeks, I decided, hey, let's just give it one more try. And the worst thing possible happened. I won. Now, after the game that I had bet on, which was, at this point, having a hard time remembering, it was a football game. I think it was an Eagles game. After I had the win, I felt this immense guilt because I had gone so long without gambling and trying to better myself, and then I had lost it all in one day. So I wanted to get that money off of the sports book immediately and get myself back into a meeting. But the withdrawal on that particular book was going to take me 2 days to receive. And during that entire time, I could cancel it. So that didn't feel like a viable option. I decided that I would go to the casino that was linked to the sports book and pick it up at the cage, the cashier's desk. Then I got there and I tried to do just that, but it required a 24-hour holding period from when you triggered the withdrawal. So now I was in a casino, I had just won money, and I had a 0-day span of abstinence. To me, it felt like I had nothing to lose. So I talked myself into gambling the exact amount that I had won on the game. I thought, hey, you know, I was mad with myself for even placing that bet, felt guilty about it. If I lost the money, then that's what I deserved. Well, I lost that money fast. Now, I had taken a drive to that casino. It took me about an hour to get there. And I thought, well, I just came all the way here, right? Might as well keep going. What's the harm now? That spiraled rapidly. I got more drunk and I continued to place more bets. And in the blink of an eye, 12 hours had passed. I had hit a cash advance 3 separate times on my credit card to max it out. I was now leaving the casino late into the night, past midnight, I believe. And I had just spent enough money, lost enough money, that I would spend the next 6 months working as a financial analyst and a bartender, both full time, in order to pay it down. Almost all of the money that I had made from those 2 jobs went into debt repayment. Can you imagine that in one session, one blink of an eye, you've caused yourself 6 months worth of struggle? I knew right then and there, leaving that casino that night, that it was always going to end the same. Big wins, then bigger losses. All wins in my past turned into losses, no matter what I did, no matter what I tried. And so that day, as I played every casino game possible, winning, losing, chasing, getting mad with myself, frustrated, finding myself anxious over every single bet, betting well beyond my means, I recognized that this would always be the case for me. No matter what I tried over that 6-year period, I always ended up in situations just like that. That one was the most severe, and that's why I say it was my worst day gambling. But it was also my best day, because it was finally the point where things got so bad that I recognized a change had to be made. Even after taking 9 months off of gambling, I went back and caused that much damage in one day. I learned a valuable lesson that I cannot gamble in a responsible manner. There's millions of you out there, maybe you're watching this video still right now, that can relate to that. You've tried it all, you've tried limiting yourself, you've tried having someone manage your money for you in the casino. You've tried walking away, but you always end up giving it back. Well, let me tell you, if you're anything like me, that's how it's always going to end up. There is not a way for a gambling addict to ever gamble responsibly. Don't fall for anything that you see. That day was my worst day, but it was my best day because I finally started to live once I walked out of that casino. And the first couple months sucked, but every single day it got a little bit easier. Those first few months after, I wanted to gamble because I wanted to win my way out of the bad situation. But I recognize now that doing that is what caused the problems to begin with. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is absolute insanity. Please learn from my story so that you don't go insane, because you will. No matter what you try, if you're anything like me, gambling is not going to lead to a happier or healthier life. Thank you. Let's keep getting better together, one day at a time.